I think I might have a friendly walk today. I don't have to do anything, so essentially I'll probably be watching movies, and I'll use my phone a lot and do stuff on my phone, so I like to watch all the movies that are on the TV at the moment because there's so many good ones, and I'm like, I have to watch this and I have to watch that. I haven't seen that in a really long time, and I used to watch it. Got some dance movies in there, so it's all pretty interesting, and yeah. I watched an ad for the new version of the Red Shoes, and I was like, it's like I've seen it before. And I'm like, ooh, I'll probably watch that later. I'm not going to watch it while I was in the cinema because I couldn't be bothered with cinemas right now. I like to watch things on TV more because it's just as absorbing. Well, sometimes you go to cinemas for the cinematic experience because you think, oh, it's going to have really good visual effects, but most of the time I can be bothered, and so I'm like, well, I'll just watch it when it comes on TV, on the TV, so I'll probably watch it later. Worse for worse, I buy $2 films off eBay when they're $2, so if years later the film's on eBay because someone's selling stuff, it's like I buy $2 everything sort of thing. No, that's not quite true, but yeah. But no, essentially I just like to watch stuff on TV. There's so many movies, it's it's really hard to keep up with movies a lot, and it's like I really want to see the a movie that's coming out next year, but it's I don't want to see it in the cinema, I want to see it from home, so I'll probably see it after next year, But I do have some interest in different movies, and I'm like, oh, I have to see that, and I have to see that, and it's I have to see it sometime. If we lived near a cinema, however, I would change my tone and be like, let's, have a day out. Get away from watching TV and using the computer to go to the cinemas, essentially, and so it would change my mood. I would probably use some gift certificates to pay for cinema stuff. I mean, it's only cheap because I'm a member, so it's quite reduced rate, so it's just a cheap way to spend a couple of hours. And if you have a gift card that you can use, you're like, I'm going, So I use gift cards for everything. It's literally, if I don't have a gift card, that's not quite true with shopping, because I always find something that I want to buy. Like today, my headphones weren't working, and they've turned grainy, and it's only been I think I bought them quite recently, within the last month, I think, and I was like, that's it, I have to find, wireless headphones to listen to stuff, because the wired ones keep breaking up, so I bought a pair of wired and unwired headphones, and it cost me $50 for both, and I was like, yeah, this is what I need. This is why I should have, cashed in my gift cards and have them, stored for when I want to just buy things. Look at all these holes. I was told yesterday someone apparently saw a little numbat or something scurry towards these bushes yesterday, and I was like, wish I'd seen it. Because we have so many little holes, it's could be a numbat, could be a bird, it could be a little, I don't know, whatever digs. I thought I saw a 3-pawed claw mark, and one of the ones in the other field. So it looks like they had dug quite hard and left a little print, and it looked like a 3-pawed kind of claw mark. And I was like, oh, it could be kangaroos, it could be anything. So I was very interested in what features might lurk. Just cut back this protective lantana and try to find it. Literally, like, this one's like there to stay for a while because there's a huge fallen down tree no one could be bothered dealing with right now. So it's like fell off from the other property. It's just sitting there. But I strained my back yesterday. I was like, how on earth do I strain my back? Because I strain it around my neck and my shoulder blade. And it's from turning my head and looking at two computers, using two computers when I'm working. So, yeah. Because I restrained my back yesterday and I was like, so that's how I do it. It's from turning my head, switching my attention from one computer to another computer. And I'm like, that's annoying. So I sort of rediscovered why things like that happen. It's because I've got two computers that I use at the one time. But I didn't have to do anything today. I'll probably just do a little bit of story writing. Nothing much else. Watch videos. Nothing much to do. We're all going to go to the Anzac service, but I don't know if I could be bothered, really. It's kind of... I mean, I know I find it a little bit interesting usually, but it's sort of like... I don't really feel like going, especially right now. I keep feeling weird in my head, like I just want to, like, black out or something. I don't know. It's like I'm always continuously feeling woozy. And I'm like, I don't know what this is. I mean, I know when I was dating someone, apparently I had some diagnosis having some sort of brain something, or not a tumor, but some mental disease, because they must have really botchy genes. Whoever I was with. And so they diagnosed me. Then he dumped me for someone else who was also diagnosed with the same thing. They went and had brain surgery. I did nothing. I said, screw that. I don't think it's actually a real thing, whatever you're saying. And then I was like, well, I feel in good health, so I'm not going to have, brain surgery and blah, blah, blah. And I didn't do anything about it. And I was like ignoring it. And so sometimes I think, oh, maybe it's this thing that I was supposed to have contracted from, being with this guy. Because their next relationship after me had the same thing diagnosed. And I always think, no, you're kind of like talking crap. It's like nothing you're saying is actually important. Like, I'm very skeptical of doctors all the time because they always say, like, they go on the points of views that everything's drastic and serious when you can just ignore it and you feel fine. So if you allow them, they'll take you for a big trip, and you can get more and more medications until you're extremely unhealthy, or you can just ignore it and you feel healthy than taking medications. And so I just eventually I'm very skeptical, and I don't go out of my way to pay attention to whatever doctors are saying. But whenever I feel like kind of wheezing in my head, I'm like, oh, maybe it's that, or maybe I just need more caffeine or something, because I don't drink a lot of caffeine. And when I was had association with someone who was like linked to the modeling industry, they were like, caffeine every day and it'll be good for you, it's healthy. And but I'm drinking more teas at the moment, and I'm like, it does give you a buzz, teas and caffeinated teas. And I'm like, yeah, this is what I need. because I feel like, yeah, and yesterday I was also doing eye training because I feel like my eyes are like almost dead, and I finally said I should do some eye training because that usually helps make my eyes feel alive at least. Because who knows, you might be like too focused on the on your mobile phone. Or, like I have my mobile phone up to my face a lot, and I'm always staring at computers. So I'm like, well, maybe I need some. So yesterday when I was working, I was doing some eye exercises. And I'm like, I should do this every time I work, and then I'll get some eye exercises as well as work, and it's good for you. So, and that seemed to make my eyes feel better. They didn't feel like they're dead on the top or something. And I was like, well, that made me feel better. That I think I just needed some eye exercises, really. But I've always been very emotional. I have all these feelings all the time, and I'm like, always feeling something. Like, ever since I was young, I've always been a big feeler, and so I always feel like these things. I never feel quite right, or something feels off-centered or unbalanced, and so I always just learn to deal with my feelings a lot. And it's like, I'm sure it's no big thing. I mean, I'm sure I'm not like mentally got some sort of mental issues from that's built up from whenever I was officially diagnosed in another country as having some sort of mental, like, brain disease or something. Yeah. But it does hit you in the back of your mind. You're like, oh, maybe like I'm feeling woozy because of that thing that I was diagnosed with in another country ages ago that I ignored because I didn't feel like what they were saying was honest. And I honestly don't give a crap unless I feel really crappy. So I took it very lightly and sort of ignored it. Ignored the best medical advice of like, oh, you have to have brain surgery, you have to have a bit of your brain chopped out and have it, treated. I was like, no, I'm not gonna get my brain chopped out. And I'm pretty sure, like, your brain is a walnut. Every piece of it's very important to your physical functioning. And so I'm like, no, I'm not really encouraged to get, like, I feel fine. No, I don't feel encouraged to get, any kind of brain surgery. So I sort of like biffed off their opinions, and I feel fine. Usually. I'm like, you have to feel a little bit of empathy for someone who'd be conned into actually having brain surgery. It's like, yeah. I just think, oh no, just be healthy, drink healthy, do exercise, you'll get over it. And if you collapse in the heat because your brain can't function, just go to the hospital. Yeah, like, no one really, like, the person that I was with didn't care. I mean, like I said, they threw me off and was with someone else, moved to someone else, and they virtually never turned back. I mean, I had one more bit of a time with them, but for half a week, but then, officially that was pretty much all our relations, come and gone. And they didn't really give 2 cents about it. And it's like, well, I'm so glad that I never did anything drastic because, you could have real motor issues, or something silly, and they don't give 2 hoots about it, about it or you, and I think it's something in their genes or something that must be the issue, because like I said, like, the next person had a similar issue, and I was like, oh, pretty patchy genes there. Giving 2 people 1 issue. I just ignore it, and I'm like, but sometimes when I'm like having issues, like with, feeling okay, I'm like, Oh, maybe it is that little thing that someone mentioned over 10 years ago. Like, I'm pretty sure that was a little bit of just a big drama over nothing kind of thing. So I don't fall for dramas over nothing very much because everyone like hypervents can, like, if you say to a believer the right thing, they'll like do drastic things to themselves, and they virtually weren't really very unhealthy. But a lot of people make money and stuff out of all these dramas, and and you're like going, no, I'll avoid the drama things. It seems like a little bit of a drama, made to be a drama. And it's like, no, I'm not into this drama. So I sort of scooted by it, not willing, not believing, not a believer, Anyway, and I'm fine, It was a person who had brain surgery that was having issues for a while. So yeah, anyway, that's a big story in itself. But yeah, besides feeling a little hot in my wool now that the sun's out, the thing is, when the clouds are around, it's really cold and you feel like you need wool to stay warm, and then the sun comes out and it's like, oh, it's so hot, I can't wear this jumper. Anyway, I gotta go and probably do a bit of writing or something. I was gonna look for jobs. I was gonna watch my TV series, watching a big collection of the Vampire Diaries. So I know it's such an old series. I think I can't even remember what year I watched it on TV, but it was ages ago. I'm like, I watched a little bit of this ages ago. I'm gonna watch the whole thing, and it's like, are you sure? There's like 8 or 9 series, and I'm only on the second one. I probably won't last the distance. I think it's just too many videos, and I'll probably be bored. But it has a lot of little touches all through it, and it's like you're like, oh, that's good. So I'll probably be like 6 months later, I'm still watching it because I only watch a little bit every day, and I'm like, I'm getting through it. I got past my first series in a week and a half, and now I'm on the second series. So that's like 3 weeks. So 2 series per month, and it's like 8 or 9. So say that it's 8. 2 series per month is 4 months worth of constantly looking at the series, and you're like going, oh, there's so many. But apparently, like, a place like that exists in the US or something. It's like called Mystic Valley or something, or Mystic River or something. And there's a place in the US that actually is like that. And I'm just like, and you have to like cross a river to get to it. And at certain periods of the year, like, the river's like really full of water and you can't get across to it. And so it's really like a disconnected mini community. And you're like going, oh, there is a place like that in the US, actually. So it's interesting to note. But sometimes I like to watch like little small town dramas and things. So I was addicted to Gilmore Girls for a while. And it's very small town. It's like small town gossip, small town dramas, small town lifestyle. And it's like, sometimes you're like watching that and be like, oh, I wouldn't mind living in a small town just to have like life so much simple, and so that these little issues are the big deal. And it's like, when I was watching like Gilmore Girls, I was living in a big city, and I was like feeling like a little very much discarded and disconnected dot in a huge city, and I felt very isolated. And so I was constantly watching these little small town dramas, and I was like, I wouldn't mind living in a small town. Because I'm sick of being a little dot in a big city where everyone overlooks you and you don't know anyone, and especially, and yeah. But I guess you need the right kind of community, because otherwise you can really hate small towns, like small town crap. Hate this person, hate that person, hate everyone. So you have to like it, in some way to like live it, because otherwise you just hate it. And then you're like, I may as well be in the city. I'm gonna hate everything. Not as though everything in a city is to hate, but you feel like disconnected, like you can in a huge city where there's heaps of people and you don't know anyone very well, and blah blah blah. Yeah, well, this is my 20-minute walk. I can go inside and check out the ingoings of the house, which always circulate around the dog. Do some exercise. Later, drink some tea. I'm thinking about getting into caffeine, because I was on a caffeine diet once, and it doesn't make you feel bad. I don't know if it makes you feel good, but that's what I feel like I need, like a hit of something that inspires your insides. Otherwise, it's like I'm bored, I'm just walking around in circles and can completely drone. And you're like not doing anything that should inspire you, like mentally or physically, really. I go for a walk. I don't go for a walk like an adventure. I would love to go to the beach. I can't go to the beach because we don't live anywhere near one. I don't go to the movies, like a mall or movies, because we don't have any around here. So eventually, like, I wake up, I go for a walk, go on the computer, watch TV, do some exercise, go on the computer or look at stuff on my phone, and then I go to sleep like every day. And it's like not much inspiration there.